Before Iron Man built his first suit, and before the Avengers assembled, there was Reed Richards, the brilliant stretchy scientist who helped launch the Marvel Universe, and nearly destroyed it on a few occasions. I'm Thomas, and let's talk about one of my favorite personal characters, which people online progressively tell me I'm alone here, Mr. Fantastic, and let's get you ready for the Fantastic Four first steps. Now, just to lay things out as far as I can get it, there are a lot of retellings and contradictory stories over the decades when it comes to Reed Richards. So instead of getting lost in the exact timeline weeds, I'm laying out the highlights that make the most sense. Reed Richards was a child prodigy, earning degrees before most kids hit puberty. By 14, he was enrolled in college and racking up doctorates like baseball cards. Raised on a sprawling California estate, Reed was the son of Nathaniel Richards, a genius scientist who later disappeared to join the secretive Brotherhood of the Shield. Yes, that Shield, a group that would help inspire the creation of the Shield we know and love. Eventually, Reed ended up at State University in New York, where he met two people who would change his life forever. Ben Grimm, a tough, no-nonsense football player, and Victor Von Doom, a genius with a chip on his shoulder the size of Latveria. Reed tried to befriend Doom, but Doom wasn't having it. Ben Grimm, on the other hand, grew up on the tough, mean streets of Yancey Street in Manhattan. He and Reed couldn't have been more different, but somehow their offbeat friendship blossomed as they cheered each other on through every success. When Reed warned Victor about a flaw in his calculations for an experiment, Doom ignored him. The lab then exploded, scarring Doom and getting him expelled. Reed stayed behind and kept working, eventually earning his doctorate, and naturally, running into a crashed alien spacecraft and a Skrull plot. You know, just another Tuesday for Reed Richards. After some travels and adventures abroad, Reed came back to the States and decided to rent a room off campus so that he could focus on his research in peace. He found a quiet place in Long Island owned by Mary Dinkins, and almost passed on it, until he saw her niece, Susan Storm. Immediately smitten, Reed moved in with a little help from his old buddy, Ben Grimm. Eventually, Reed returned to California and used his inheritance to form a private rocket program. He recruited his old pal Ben Grimm to fly it, just like Ben had joked about. He also worked closely with Susan Storm, his now fiancée, and her younger brother, Johnny. Before launch, the group had a terrifying encounter with an alien conqueror named Gormu. Reed defeated the monster using a machine he built to inflate Gormu until its molecules scattered through space. It was a big win, but it also lit a fire under Reed. The universe was dangerous, and it was now time to explore it on their own terms. Their destination? A binary star system 44 light years away. Their ride? The Marvel One. But with federal funding on the verge of being cut, Reed made the call to launch early. Ben was hesitant about it, and the radiation shielding seemed unfinished, but Reed insisted. And so Reed, Ben, Sue, and Johnny took off without clearance and flew straight into a cosmic storm. What happened next would change everything. The cosmic rays altered them on the molecular level. Sue became invisible, Johnny burst into flames, Ben transformed into a rock-covered powerhouse, and Reed? Well, Reed became elastic. His body could stretch, twist, flatten, and contort into just about any shape imaginable. Whether squeezing through tight spaces, forming a parachute mid-air, or morphing his fists into massive hammers, Reed's power turned him into a living Swiss Army knife. His mind may be his greatest weapon, but his body? That's not far behind. After they crash-landed, mutated, and were understandably dazed and confused, Reed knew what would have to happen next. They would use their powers to protect humanity. He called himself Mr. Fantastic, and the team became the Fantastic Four. Reed's leadership and intellect earned the team government backing, public trust, and even celebrity status, the latter of which he believed was the best way to protect them, especially given Ben's rocky appearance. From the Baxter Building lab, Reed invented unstable molecules for their suits, built the Fantastic Car, and developed tech that would go on to define the Marvel Universe. He faced off against villains like the Mole Man, Galactus, and of course, Dr. Doom. He also clashed multiple times with Namor the Submariner over Sue, who had her share of romantic tensions with Namor, but ultimately, she chose Reed. The two were married in a public superhero wedding and eventually had two children, Franklin and Valeria. But those stories? Those are for another day. Reed Richards is one of Marvel's greatest minds, and sometimes one of its most dangerous. He's a father, a futurist, and the kind of hero who knows the weight of leadership, especially when the universe is on the line. Though his work can often consume him, his family remains his true north, the one thing he values above all else. So that's everything for now you need to know about Mr. Fantastic for Fantastic Four First Steps. If there's anything we missed and are you excited for Fantastic Four First Steps, please drop it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in here at Nerd Initiative. All right, aloha.